In this week's episode, we have one of our most fierce guests yet, Maddie Riebe. Listen in as Maddie shares how she built herself into the woman she has become through internal strength and iron desires. Finally, this episode of the Iron Huddle is sponsored by Torque Strength and Conditioning. Torque Strength and Conditioning is a great place to work out and offers a variety of programs such as Torque GPP, Torque Barbell, Torque Fit, personal coaching and wellness, and youth and teen development. And we hope you enjoy the podcast.
All right, so guys, welcome to the new exciting episode of the Iron Huddle. We're lucky enough to have Maddie. How do you pronounce your last name?
Riebe.
Maddie, the Mad Dog Riebe, with us. And so we met you a few years ago. I think at the time when I met you, Nick Tadlock, one of the co-hosts here, was training you, right?
Yes.
Okay, and you're young too, aren't you? Like 21 or 19 or?
I'm not 19.
Just a child.
No, I'll be 23 in May.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah, so
yeah.
I'm 22.
But you've competed quite a bit in different events, so I just always thought you were so new to it. But it sounds like you have some more experience than I may have thought in competing with weightlifting and powerlifting and all that.
Yeah, so I actually started lifting, and it was kind of like out of the blue. I just wanted to start learning how to do like kind of almost not Pinterest workouts, but it was just like really basic stuff. And then so I kind of followed like a bodybuilding scheme for a while.
So is that where you kind of got the interest in the bug for all this? Was from like a Pinterest type thing, or where did you kind of get your passion to start even getting in the gym?
I was overweight in high school. So
welcome to the club.
As was I.
I was the weird art kid.
Okay.
Yeah. So I never did any sports or anything of that nature. I always ended up having like, hello. I never did any sports in high school. I always, I just drew all the time. I didn't really like the idea of anybody telling me what to do. So like when it came to, I wish I ran track because I was a good sprinter, but I really didn't like the idea of someone telling me how to run. And I really
okay.
Like even like getting coached by Nick and like
Wait, so you're saying you're a girl
it's funny
who doesn't like being told what to do?
Because you were one of the easier clients out of the powerlifting group.
I just don't want to be needy.
So what?
Did great.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's actually good to hear, because you're probably open-minded to something you weren't really, I guess, maybe, I don't want to like offend you, maybe too confident in.
Oh,
you know
absolutely
what I mean?
not. Yeah, like I had absolutely no idea what I was doing.
I'd rather have way too much confidence than zero and be a great athlete. You know what I'm saying? It definitely pays off in the end. Like if you live with confidence, things happen. If you have someone who has talent and they have no confidence, you have a lot of roadblocks. It's tough.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you had the confidence being there, but you may not have had the direction of where you wanted to go with it. So I'm guessing, like, so you were an athlete in high school and did some stuff there, right?
No, I didn't do anything. Like, I did jack shit. Like,
okay.
I just
and
drew
you
every
didn't want to
day.
get coached? Was that part of the reason, or what was kind of the reason you were, because you were so artistic, it just wasn't, you want to break from your identity, or kind of what was the reason with that?
It was totally not a priority of mine.
Okay.
Like, my parents never really, I mean, I rode horses. I had a couple horses, so you could say that's of some, like, talent, I don't know, like, area.
Yeah.
But, no, I really did not prioritize it. I prioritized sitting on my ass and playing Call of Duty.
Oh, right.
Like, I was that chick that was like gaming all the time.
Nice.
It was so ridiculous. Oh yeah, Skyrim was my shit.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No.
That took so much of my life.
Yeah, it's really important, and it's like sad when you have to restart it and like.
I did, and I gave up. Because it took, because they came out for PS4, and I'm like, I'm going to do it. And then I got like 12 hours in, I'm like, oh.
Yeah, and you don't even get that far. There's still so much, but you have to like pick a different animal.
Tony, do you know what they're talking about?
They have no idea.
What were you?
What do you think I was? I was
An Imperial, you basic ass? No,
I was a fucking Norse. Look at me. Oh, Nordic, I think they call it on there. Yeah, I basically made myself and kicked ass with an axe.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I was the cat.
You Yeah, the cat's a babe.
What do you think of this, Nick?
I have no fun.
Sorry, we're geeking out.
I'm going to have a drink.
Yeah.
I'll be back in a minute.
I'll be right
Nerd
back.
alert. So back on track here. So that was your interest. You were committed to just being nerding out.
Oh.
You were chasing those late night dreams, beating up other warriors and pretend friends. So like, once you snapped into real life, what got you into the gym? What was it?
I was tired of being fat, and I think so. Like, I was in a pretty like weird relationship in high school, and like as soon as that ended, I felt like a degree of freedom.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, this is something that maybe I should start doing. So I just started going to the gym, and when I was at River Falls, that was where I went to undergrad.
Okay.
There was a gym it was an Anytime Fitness, and that was right across the street from my dorm. So I would go there all the time, and I was a total cardio bunny. Like,
Well, that's probably all you knew at the time, right?
oh yeah, of course. And like my rationale, my cousin had actually just left for basic training, and my rationale was like, okay, he's running this much every day. Like, I should definitely be able to do that. And my RA was in she did ROTC, so
you're kind of in a circle of people that's what their direction was. You thought you'd hop in with that.
Right. I think like if I didn't end up getting into like actually lifting weights in any degree, I would totally have kind of followed like a military style.
Okay, so let's go from there then. After you started going to the Anytime Fitness and doing your cardio and started to hate yourself even more, like all of us do when you get to that state, it takes a whole nother area to go there. But anyways, where'd you go after that? What progressed you to start actually like throwing some weights on and maybe walking into where we all met you over at the Woodbury Club? How did you get to that area?
Sure. So like fast forward, I'm like, picture your girl and running all over the place and doing cardio shit ton and doing tricep extension. Now,
did you make a lot of progress from doing that cardio too? Were you like making the progress you wanted to with the weight loss, or just like the body fat percentage drop? Were you eating really healthy at that point, or what was kind of the point you were at with the cardio before you transitioned to weightlifting, I guess?
Sure. So around the end of my freshman year, I kind of noticed that I was starting to get like really obsessed with losing weight because I had like a spring break trip planned.
Okay.
And so my rationale was I need to do cardio all the time, and that's how I'm going to lose weight, and I need to restrict and stuff like that. And little did I know I was like developing an eating disorder.
Oh, okay.
So that even after I identified what I was experiencing, that definitely didn't stop the behavior.
So how long did you feel it took you before you recognized the issue with the eating disorder? Was it like within a month? Was it less than that?
So it was probably, I would say probably around 2 to 3 months that I like realized that this behavior is problematic. It's not normal.
Now, what attributed that behavior to? Was it just a mental or emotional state of you didn't feel like personally you were at where you wanted with your goals? So you were, binge eating or not eating, or you were like, I think we all do at some points in our life. It's hard not to, and you start comparing yourself to others. Does that play a big part into it, or kind of what was your justification of why you thought you were there looking back at it now?
Yeah, so there was some issues going on in my home life. My parents were having a really difficult time with their marriage, and they almost got a divorce when I had like come back from the spring break trip, and that was really hard on me. And I think in Abnormal Psych we talk about like eating disorders come on when there's like a change in people's lives. So like if they need a lot of control, or if they all of a sudden have a lot of control in their life. So like a person going to college and living in a dorm room and having like that whole freedom, that's where they can develop. And then especially if you have like predisposed mental health issues, or like if you have a stressful event occur in your life, that can just kind of amplify.
Yeah, that's your escape to go to that safe place, which you feel like is the one thing that helps you heal with some pain. It makes sense. I mean, we've got a few others on here talking about their journey with that, and I'm glad you're comfortable to open up with us too, because there's others who are, if they haven't gone through, they're probably listening and are going through it. So how long did that last for you before you were able to, and maybe you don't have a handle on it now, I don't know, how long was it for you able to kind of, once you identified it, able to get a grasp on that at all?
Yeah, so I ended up Around the end of my freshman year is when I admitted myself to the Emily program, which is just like a eating disorder kind of treatment facility. So I was doing outpatient treatment there. And had I not, I was going to move out to Fargo for a brief period of time. Had I not done that, I would have done inpatient. So it was around that summer that I was like really honing in on getting better and feeling back to normal and stuff like that. But what I actually found was that when I went to treatment initially, I got worse just because eating disorders are really competitive. You always kind of compare, like if you are anorexic, for example, or if you're like, you don't even have to be like in a specific group. You're looking at other people's bodies and you're saying, I'm not sick enough because I don't look like that. So if you see someone that's skinnier than you, you'll sit here and say like, okay, I don't have anything wrong with me because I don't look like her, and she's actually sick, I'm not, even though you totally exhibit the behavior, the symptoms, all that stuff that she does, but you don't see that in your eyes, so you never think that you have a problem either.
Is it denial then?
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Totally, and like you don't want to let control of anything that you have done, so like you get into these routines and these really like ritualistic things. So like for me, for some time, what I would actually do is like I restricted all week where I was eating under certain calories, and then I would have a binge on like a Saturday night.
And how bad was that binge?
It wasn't to the point, it was probably like, I don't want to throw a number out there just because I don't want other people who are struggling to compare mine.
But I mean, did it affect like, did you, because you were taking so much less throughout the week, did it physically hurt? Like, did your stomach hurt and all that because all of a sudden you were going from one extreme to the other? Mm-hmm. And then how the heck did you respond with that on Sunday? I mean, was it did you have to gradually how would you respond on that?
So what I would do typically is, and yes, I would binge to the point where my stomach was hurting really bad. I couldn't move. It's just like you feel like you're going to throw up. Some people will binge to the point where they do make themselves sick.
Yeah.
I never got to that point, thank goodness. But I never purged either. One thing that I did do, it's kind of gross, but I would use laxatives after a binge.
To force yourself?
Pardon?
To force yourself to like
defecate.
Yep.
So and like basically clear out your system. So like the next morning I would just have like incredible stomach pains and like cramping and like it was just awful.
So, after experiencing all that pain, and not even physically but emotionally and mentally, when you went into, was it an inpatient treatment place you went to or outpatient?
So I did outpatient treatment.
You did? Okay.
Yep. So just like therapy and nutritionist and stuff like that.
And how long did it take you to adapt, not only physically with the food, but like mentally and emotionally, before you felt like you had a control on it? And if so, did you relapse? How did that whole experience for you go?
Yeah, so I actually I moved out to Fargo because for whatever reason I thought that like transferring out to North Dakota State was a good idea.
Okay,
so,
just to get away from everything?
I don't know, that relationship, friends, stuff like that. Yep. So after about 5-6 months, I decided to come home because I was getting worse in my mental health and like my eating disorder. It wasn't going anywhere. And actually, when I came home, I felt like very much more at ease. Like I was aware of what I was experiencing, and like I knew I had a better idea of how to control it. And I actually had stopped going to treatment, which I don't advise people doing. Like I really urge people to get therapy and get help, but like at the time, I did not continue treatment when I moved back home.
So through that move back home though, when you stopped going to treatment, were you able to overcome that anxiety like you were saying and kind of by yourself naturally kind of progress into a better, healthier direction?
Yeah, so I actually it was kind of a blessing in disguise, and this is where lifting comes into it. So yes, I did relapse. To answer your question from earlier, like I had felt a more sense of control when I came back from North Dakota. However, I wasn't completely, I wasn't completely in control yet.
Okay.
And I was kind of still in denial, like, oh, I have a handle on things, you know, like I can do this myself. I started doing kind of like a bodybuilding style workout, and I started lifting at a commercial gym here in Woodbury.
Okay.
And there I met an old school bodybuilder who was like, and all these people were prepping for shows because it was like around March.
Okay.
So people were prepping for shows.
Okay.
Yeah, and I had like seen what they were eating, and I was like, oh, that must be right. Like if I want to look this way, and if I want to, you know, have low body fat and all this stuff, I need to eat. So there's like a point in my head where that clicked for me, but I still had other like notches to click that would like in terms of like my rationale and my thinking.
So when you surrounded yourself, like it's almost like a blessing but a curse, because you surround yourself with all these good positive vibes and all these people that are committed and have the consistency and they're lifting and they're eating. But did all that perfection almost cause the relapse again because you were around all that?
Yeah, so it went from barely eating food, period, to and being really, really selective with my food, to eating really clean all the time and being even more oh God, sorry. That scared the shit out of me.
Turkey's done.
So it went from eating barely anything at all, right, to eating very clean and being very restrictive, but like trying to eat enough protein and trying to eat enough healthy fats and like being more conscious of what I was putting in my body, but it still wasn't enough, and it still like added to this idea of I need to be perfect with my macros, and with, you know, if I eat an M&M, I'm gonna ruin myself, and like that's where I had a cheat meal introduced to me, and that's where I started to binge.
Yeah, well, it's funny on even a minor level compared to what someone with a diagnosed eating order goes through. Is I think even myself and all of us go through times where like you go those ups and downs, and you're like, I can't just have one M&M or one half a Pop-Tart. You're gonna demolish the whole bag, right?
I'm that guy.
Yeah.
Anyone I've ever dated or anything, if you have no self-control, I'm like, no, I don't. What, one donut? I'm not fucking 6.
I'll have the box, please.
It's so tough, and that's why I think macros, they work, but I honestly don't think it's sustainable.
I don't think it's a perfect system at all.
Hell no.
think people are successful with it, and people do well with it. However, I think the ultimate goal is auto-regulation, but I think that you can develop some bad habits from tracking macros, especially if you're kind of a control freak or you become obsessive compulsive about it and you have to hit everything on the nuts every single time.
And especially too, if like, we need to have Tim and Brandy on here to talk about differences. They're big into keto, but like talking along the macros and the styles of we want to call it bodybuilding diets or preps. But like a guy like probably the three of us, or at least Ryder and I, if you put one of us on a keto or vertical diet or carnivore diet, we could probably stick to that more often than you put us on a flexible dieting. We are not going to be able to have just one Pop-Tart.
No.
We do not have. Yeah, we just don't have the.
My birthday, I had 6 pieces of cheesecake, and they were like the individual slices that feed 3 people. But I justified it. It's my fucking birthday.
It was your birthday.
What kind of cheesecake was it?
It was from Cafe Latte in St. Paul.
Ask.
Boom!
Yes.
Oh, it was amazing.
Was it the strawberry one?
I had that. I had like an Oreo one. There's one that was like pecan. It was epic, and I had a huge steak. It was a good night.
It was what cafe?
Cafe Latte, and
So we're still looking for sponsors, Cafe.
Hit me up because I love to eat
You
cheesecake.
can pay us in cake.
We'll all take 6 pieces. So then you were in that point. You're at the gym. You're kind of surrounding yourself, and you relapse. How do you get over it this time? What's your mental clarity? Where do you go from? How do you get back on top?
So it's funny that you say like that, because in essence I kind of relapsed like every single weekend.
You're a mess. No, I'm just kidding.
It was so bad.
Happens to
You know
everyone.
what? I like started to feel slowly out of control. Like the cheat meals turned into like a cheat day to a binge to like.
So a snowball effect, really.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
And like then it started to happen like more than once a week, and I was like, okay, this isn't right, and like this isn't okay.
Now, hold on. With that, did you keep it all to yourself? Or are you talking to any any friends or family or even a therapist, or is it all just internal and you know, just completely criticizing yourself every time it happened?
So, yeah, that one. The second. Yeah. So, like, the thing is with binge eating and with, like, a lot of kind of, well, especially that, people want to hide it.
Yeah.
And, like, it's something that you're very ashamed of because there's a stigma attached to it. You think of, like, my 600-pound life. You think of, like, morbidly obese people. You don't think of, like, athletes. You don't think of people that are living everyday lives, college students, you know, parents, mothers, you know, whoever. And so people will keep it in secret. So yes, though I didn't open up to someone about it until October, this last October. I didn't tell anybody.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, it's been that long. Okay, wow. Well, at least you had the courage to bring it up, because like we had talked about a little bit before, we did a podcast with a few other people, and both females talked about their struggles with that. And I think once you're able to get out in the open and you get that support from others, you kind of never really assumed would be accepting of that, because they may not be at the extreme level that you may be or someone else may be, but they've been a part of that themselves a little bit. So
well, I think weightlifting, like, it's just so hard. So you put in perspective, like, how do you have that balance? And it's something I don't, like, who really finds it? Because like you said, you want to all of a sudden just, I want a little taste. No, I want the whole thing. And, you know, that's what thing I found with macro counting. Like, all of a sudden I'm like losing muscle, but I'm like, I'm doing exactly what I should be doing. Then all of a sudden I just started eating intuitively or with intent, and all of a sudden gained a bunch of muscle. Me and Nick talk about this all the time. But then you go back to, how do you keep that balance with, hey, I'm going to go to a wedding. Like, I'm sure like, you know, social gatherings are probably hard for you. I know when I was counting my macros, I was like, oh, hey, I got to get a salad. And then you can't even, like, enjoy a beer. Yeah, it's way more stressful.
You just, like, wish you wouldn't get invited to shit sometimes.
No, exactly. So it's, like, how did you go from that? Like, how did you overcome that? Because that's a really hard thing, even for anyone. It doesn't even matter if you have an eating disorder. If you're just an average Joe, it's so stressful where you're like, I don't even know where to fucking begin. So it's something I see all the time in my gym, and that's why we talk about behavior more. Like, hey, eat, just be consistent, you know, stick to good food, stick to food you like, and, you know, cheat once in a while. Let's talk about it. And that's the hardest thing. Or you see some people go, like you said, all the way in, and it takes that one time, and they're off. Yeah. If they're off the bandwagon, right?
Yeah. So like when I would initially, when I was ill, I would avoid those situations, or I would just like eat very minimally so people thought I was eating the food or whatever. And over time it would turn to like eating just normally and stuff like that. But then I would go home and like binge because I like went outside of what I was used to eating and stuff like that. And then I have avoided certain gatherings because of it, because I know that there's going to be food there and stuff like that. But like in terms of when I was counting my macros and like at least now, like what I kind of go by is I eat pretty damn well like a majority of the week, and I don't usually put myself in a situation where I'm like, I know that I won't have food, or that like my last resort is going to be something unhealthy, because at least right now, like I'm working with a nutritionist and I'm pretty dedicated to that. But before, like when it was a little more lenient working with him, he just had me kind of intuitively eat as well. And around that time, like I was able to just be a little bit more lenient with like what I would eat. And it took me a long time to be comfortable with like eating a small bit.
Yeah. So with your nutritionist you're working with now, what's the objective or the goals working with as a nutritionist that help you stay mentally healthy and emotionally healthy and be able to be okay with what you're eating? I mean, what are the objectives and goals that are helping you stay along with this?
Yeah. So Mikey Bjornsson, he is the shit.
Who is this?
Michael Bjornsson.
Okay, is he on Instagram or anything for people to follow?
Yes, Mikey, Mikey Bjornsson,
BJORNSON.
Yeah, he's the shit. So like he also helps a lot of people that have kind of been in the same situation I have, where I've come off of like a really strict diet from like a show prep or something, and it just kind of messes with their metabolism and their mindset around food.
Absolutely.
So, anyways, but oh shit, I forgot what you asked me.
No, I just asked with you hiring this nutritionist and him kind of helping you, and you're saying you feel like you're able to kind of stick to the plan he's given you. So for you mentally and emotionally, having a goal in mind to stay with this healthy, what are the objectives and goals that are allowing you to stick with this? Like, is it super strict where you're weighing yourself every week that's going to cause a lot of anxiety, or what are you guys kind of working towards with Mike, I should ask?
Yeah, so initially, I can weigh myself now, and I don't have a problem with it, which is like
huge.
Yeah, compared to where I used to weigh myself like 5 times a day, like all the time.
Yeah.
With this, initially he had me not weigh myself at all.
Yeah.
For an extended period of time, and he started me off on a decent, like a way higher number of calories than I was comfortable with, or that I had ever consumed in a day period. And actually, eating that many calories per day made me not want to binge.
Yeah.
So it was like that repeated exposure and like that consistency that I had to stick to. And I did have to gain a little bit of weight initially, because when you restrict for an extended period of time and like limit yourself from like carbs or, you know, whatever your trigger food might be, you will have a little bit of rebound that you have to deal with, but it is for a short period of time before it kind of just, your body regulates itself.
And like you were saying earlier, to get that many calories in your system, you have to eat a lot of food to get there. So and with the response to your body now, do you feel like you're responding from your workouts better? Do you feel healthier? Do you feel like you're able to have more energy to come in and wake up and go after your workouts? And from eating this much more calories, and as you slowly reduce them, I imagine, are you still feeling that same energy?
Yeah, so like from the initial caloric surplus that I was in, I did experience weight gain. So we've been working on bringing my weight down, but it's been a really, really slow process. I'm saying like from October to current, I'm still working on like bringing my calories down. However, like this is the highest amount of calories I've been able to eat and lose weight at the same time.
So that's a great thing.
It was something that like really worked out, and yes, like I noticed a massive difference in my training. Like,
and I
got strong.
Yeah.
Remember, you were always like,
out there.
how are you not eating carbs?
Yeah.
How are you not like doing this and you're still like training 6 days a week? When I started with him, I was not eating any carbohydrates.
Really?
No.
And let's talk about
women are awesome species, man.
Please have some carbs before training.
They can like not eat and just get strong as fuck, and you keep like beating the shit out of them. They just get better.
Yeah.
To a certain point.
Well, yeah. Then finally they break, but you know.
So did you have a lot of injuries during that time before you started your nutrition with Mikey? Did you have any injuries or not?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No, just the knee thing, but that was like a month long. And that
Nothing
was
like serious.
No.
Okay. So you're kind of back on track now. He's kind of helping you, and you're kind of trusting in him, and you've seen responses, even though you may gain a little weight. That's natural when you start throwing those calories back in. But I think part of that battle and the encouragement for you is that for all of us, even, I mean, we've all done different eating plans and nutrition preps, your diets, try to figure out what works for us. And what works for us is not going to work for you, and vice versa. So at least you took the challenge to open your mind to try different things. And like you said, it's March now, and it took you from starting in October to finally feel comfortable, right? Mm-hmm. That's probably the natural progress.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it was like coming to terms with like losing control of having so much control.
There you
as
go.
Weird as that sounds, I knew I had to trust in someone who knew what they were talking about and just stop. Like, I got to a point where it just was not getting better.
Sure.
I had gotten to like a breaking point to where I was really sick of this continuous cycle of like, and like I got to a point where I wasn't restricting and I was just binging. So yes, I was putting on weight just from doing that, and that's where I was like, okay, what the hell? So like it didn't manifest. It went from basically restricting and purging to some degree to restricting and binging, and then like the restricting went away, and then it was just the binging, no purging, right? You know, like, so it like manifested itself in different ways. So as much as I thought that I was better and okay, I wasn't.
Sure.
And it's definitely a process.
And you're still going through that process, sounds like, but in a more positive light.
Oh yeah, for sure. So like what you were saying earlier about kind of sharing your testimony with other people, there's a reason why they have people do that in AA. Like as far as like being a sponsor and like helping someone else, it like helps you get out of what you're experiencing and like validates what you're saying, and you're not alone. This idea of universality, like we're all in this together and we're all experiencing something that's frankly sucks, and like, but we're all here for each other and we're all non-judgmental, and I think there's like a lot of power in that.
Absolutely.
And like opening up to people too.
Yeah.
Like,
well, that's huge. Like if you don't feel there's basically how I'm getting at is like if all of a sudden you aren't feeling safe like in your home. Right, like no matter where you're at, whether you're at work, at your home, or whatever, just because there's always this underlying monster in the room, food, you know, how are you ever really going to get through it? Because you sure as hell can't do it alone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a huge vulnerability with that in yourself too. Because the second you open up to somebody, you're vulnerable for them to judge you.
Yeah, exactly.
You feel like you trust them, and they could go a whole other way on that with you. So with that, I think let me ask next, like, so with your social life. Have you had to, you know, kind of exit people out of your life, whether it's get-togethers or this or that, or they can do whatever they want and they're still lean and mean and you're trying so hard? I mean, do you have people, are you been able to socially just accept those people and you stay in your lane? How have you kind of adapted with all that?
As far as like just anything?
Well, let's say you have friends that can do whatever they want, and so you're cruising along on a Sunday after shopping or whatever you're doing, and they're going to Duck Donuts, and you've got to go over and you've got to get the leanest, meanest salad that you can get at Chipotle. Like, do you have trouble with that kind of social, or there's a dinner? Like, how do you separate the two with friends or relationships, or do you just kind of stick to yourself still?
Sure. I usually, I don't have a life. So that usually helps.
Yeah, that helps a lot.
But, so like, being a graduate student in a master's program, that takes up a shit ton of time.
Just a humble drop.
Yeah, exactly.
Plus, you're the hardest working woman on the west side of the river, waking up at 3:30 to get to Los Campianos to open the place up, right?
Campianos! You wake up at 3:30?
No, okay, at 3:50.
Close.
That's any better.
Yeah, that's 20 minutes. Like, that matters in the morning. It does.
I've gotten up at 3:30 and been like, shit, I can't fall back asleep. I guess I'm awake now.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Before your alarm, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
You couldn't pay me enough money to do that. How do you? No, all off topic.
Okay.
How the fuck do you do that?
I don't know, man. Like, it's just I don't know. I've gotten 3 hours of sleep the night before I've opened, and like, no, absolutely not.
Hats off to you.
For whatever reason, I am able to wake up.
Yeah.
Well, that being said, with all the nutrition and everything going better, how's your recovery and how's your sleep?
Yeah, how's your sleep?
Lately, my sleep has been ass cracked.
Because of job or everything else?
Probably just life, to be honest with you. Usually, yeah. So,
Are you fueled by Bang energy drinks?
I am so fucking fueled by Bang energy drinks.
Dude, I had to quit drinking those. I had to quit drinking for a week. I haven't not had a Bang every day when I trained for 2 years.
I'm up to almost 2 a day.
Yeah, dude, they're not good.
1 and a half, and then I have half in my car for the next morning on the way to the gym.
I'm like burping a lot and shit. I'm pretty sure I got a hole in my stomach now. Anyways, Bang.
Heart palpitations.
Fuck, dude. That and my cocaine problem.
They have a new one called, I think,
Gangsterberry.
no, calm down. Let me get through it. It's called Frosty Rolls. Remember I had that on Sunday?
Oh, yeah, it's delicious.
Yeah, it was really good.
Can they just do Bangs and just cut the fucking caffeine in half?
Yeah.
They need to call it like Bang for sissies.
Those Celsius aren't too bad. They have the Celsius drinks, kind of 150 grams of caffeine. It's
Also,
not too
Bang,
bad.
sponsor us.
Yes, bring it on. So, we kind of talked about everything you've gone through with your eating disorder and kind of you're coming over through that, and now you're the hardest working woman at Los there, waking up early, going to grad school, working, grinding through the day. And let's talk about your weight training, because that's one of the reasons we have you on here, is because you're a female, you lift weights, you kick ass, you take names, and you still enjoy it, you still do it through all the ups and downs of eating and life and working and grad school. Let's talk about the ups and downs you had there. Like, I think when I first met you, you had Nick kind of thick, the world's best trainer. And
he's not thick for the record.
Compared to you, dude.
What did he do with you as a lifter that you really took away from the experience? Maybe, is he your first lifting coach?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell us about that experience.
Damn good lifting coach after your first one.
So, I still remember I had been pulling sumo there, and I was on a platform, and there is Lifetime. And Johnny and Abby actually saw me, and they were watching me, and they were like, And I don't know if they said something to you, but you came up to me.
It's how long you been eating butt, girl?
Yeah, he said exactly that, and then I called HR. So I still remember you asked me something along the lines of pulling sumo, and then eating ass. But then I distinctly remember you asking me if I wanted to be one of your athletes, or that you wanted me to be one of your athletes, and I was like, what?
What's that mean?
Earmuffs, Abby.
It took 2 or 3 tries.
It was so bad. So I still remember you coming up to me, and I was doing some bullshit at a cable or something like that, and then you came up to me and you're like, so what are you thinking about it? And you gave me the program on Train Heroic, and it took me so long, 2 weeks before this meet in Tennessee, to actually follow the goddamn program. I didn't do shit.
God.
At least you're honest.
Yeah. Well, at least you're not I'll say her name, Jackie. Give her the best program ever, and she's just like a squirrel in a room full of nuts. Can't fucking do anything. So you're Tennessee. That was nationals, wasn't it? Or no, what
that
was
the Tennessee Open.
Yeah.
It was January 14th.
I remember that. That's I think when I first met you. That's when we first started hanging out. So.
Yeah. So
Maddie had Brussels sprouts before the trip.
Oh no! Oh, we went there.
Okay, that van was not bad.
Let's open this up. You just beefcaked that poor van all the way to Tennessee.
She wasn't the only one. To be fair.
Oh wow!
Pause. Andy was throwing up in damn near every state.
Andrew,
Was he sick? What's going on?
Andrew had food poisoning. He threw up in every single state from here to Tennessee. He has DNA in every state.
So, picture a van. What kind of van?
Not a van.
Not a van.
Oh.
It wasn't a van.
Geo Metro?
Might as well have been. I mean, we had this. I thought it was an SUV. Yeah, I thought it was an SUV. It said SUV. I was like, all right, fine, cool. And we had
Honda Pilot.
Yeah, we had 220 power lifters in there, a 275, my girlfriend, and then Maddie, all in this car with all of our bags. It was fucking
That's
awesome.
epic. Yeah.
It was terrible.
And you went 1-on-1 against Pete Rubish in that meet, right, Maddie?
Yeah, definitely.
Got him on Wilkes.
Yeah, exactly. No.
And how'd you do at that meet?
That meet, so it was my first one I did. I've only done a couple because USPA is few and far between.
I wasn't asking about those. I was asking about Tennessee.
Okay, sorry.
I'm kidding. Keep going.
Okay, Tennessee, my best squat was 276. My bench was 154, and my deadlift was 330.
Okay. Nice. So was that what you wanted to hit, or is it kind of short where you wanted, or in your mind, how to go?
Yeah, I had no idea what I was doing, getting into that. I just was kind of yep, this is right, because I think we just went off the numbers I did, that last couple weeks of programming.
Okay.
She's like, yeah, I just do things.
She won best overall female as a junior.
That's awesome.
Did I break it? Is that good?
Wait, did I really?
Yeah.
She's like, what?
I forget.
Fuck, I forgot about that.
That's great.
I feel
That was a big time meet too. I mean, that was that was a bigger meet. That was
especially
pretty impressive.
You traveled all that way. Your body's probably all the snoring, being stuck in a car.
I couldn't even imagine. I drove down to St. Louis with Tony one time, and I couldn't walk for a week after just to lift weights. It was stupid.
Being the shortest individual in that vehicle, there was a half back seat, half trunk that had all of the luggage in it.
So you rode bitch all the way down.
She was like reclining on the suit, on the luggage and stuff.
Oh, that's awesome. No, I got real snuggly in that back seat, and like, yeah, it was.
So how many meets have you done since then?
I've only done one since then.
Was that the one at Southside you were at with Johnny? And Andrew?
Yes.
Okay.
Hey, you killed it down there.
That was a tougher meet for you, wasn't it? If I remember right.
It was. I still went 8 for 9.
Oh, very good.
Really
Okay.
missed a 380 deadlift.
Oh my
that's a
god, it
great
was
day.
368. I'm still pissed about it.
Yeah.
And I missed the lockout.
I remember that. Yeah. But
I'm
you were right
so
there.
close.
Whose fault was that?
Mine. 100%.
That a girl. I like it.
Own that shit.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
But I honestly, I was really excited about my 300 squat. I got
Yeah.
303.
That's huge.
Where are your numbers at now?
So I just did 295 for 2 like a couple weeks ago, and I did
For squat.
for squat, 285 for 4 last week. So
Nice.
whatever
Good
that
for you.
entails.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, when you're lifting at Lowston, are you going from the rack and walking out, or did you use a model lift when you do those?
No.
Just because you have the ability to do everything there, which is great.
Yeah, that's what's nice. I'm not a fan of the monolift, but so I just use a normal normal
Okay.
rack.
And as Nick says,
I walk him out like a man.
there we go.
Yeah, you got to be able to walk.
So
that
does Larry
shit out.
Wheels, right? Or Larry Williams. Okay, so do you bench press as well?
Oh yes, I definitely bench.
Is that when you're stronger?
That was epic. Like, oh
What's
yeah.
coming?
What's happening?
Yeah, what's next? So is that when you're better lifts, or is a deadlift and squat kind of your jam? What's kind of your? Or do you like them all?
My deadlifts suck. I am not happy with them personally. I'm relatively confident in my squat. My
Okay.
bench is something that I also feel pretty good in.
Nice.
I just look at kind of what I've seen other people do, and I'm like, okay, well, I guess that's okay
Yeah.
what I'm doing, and I'm not way behind, and I'm not way ahead. I'm just right where I need to be.
Okay. Sounds like a song.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. You gotta get a guitar and throw it together.
No, but my last meet I benched 170.
Okay.
So I got 180 for 2
Yeah.
a couple weeks ago.
So, going forward here, kind of what's your direction you're going in? Are you thinking of doing some more powerlifting, more like bodybuilding, maybe some Olympic lifting? Kind of what's your thought of transition is where you go forward with this nutritionist and everything? Your grad school, it's still working. Kind of what are your hopes and the direction you're going towards now?
Yeah, so I'm still in graduate school for another 2.5 years.
And what's that for, by the way?
Yeah.
It's for counseling, psychology.
Oh, perfect.
or
Kind of what you've been through, right?
Pardon?
Kind of what you've been through then a little bit?
Yeah, so I don't know if I would counsel people with eating disorders just because I don't know if there would be any sort of counter-transference, I'm projecting anything onto them
Sure.
type of a thing. However, I do want to do general mental health. I also want to do group therapy, specifically for families that have elderly family members that are struggling with dementia. So how do those family members handle the situation? Because that can be really hard. But I plan on doing this powerlifting for, I don't know, I'm going to nationals in Columbus, Ohio for USPA.
What? When is that?
It's June 27th through the 30th, I want to say.
Oh, very
Road
cool.
trip.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm doing that, and then
Is that a full meet then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So I just want to compete at nationals at a junior level. Don't know if I'm really competitive, but I just want to go for the experience, and then hopefully just kind of continue to get stronger.
Just get those Brussels sprouts ready before you leave, right?
Exactly. I'll trap Nick in the car with me.
Oh my God.
So, talking about culture and training and culture, and what's you've been to what do you call it, a regular gym or a
Commercial
gym?
I call it global.
You global gym. You've been to the smaller ones. You've been all the commercial global gyms, and now you're at a pretty niche, hardcore neighborhood used to be, kind of a lot of notoriety type gym. Of all the ones you've been to, which one have you found the most, that you find the most at peace in, that you love being at? When you walk in, you just feel like you're home, and why? Because of the culture.
So I'm really glad you said that, because typically what I find with commercial gyms is it's not about what you're doing, it's about what you have.
Vanity.
Yes.
You couldn't have said that better, actually.
As in
apparel, as in shoes, as in, I see people with like some long ass nails picking up dumbbells, and I'm like, what are you doing with those? You're gonna, like, no judgment, to each their own, but like, people don't care about becoming a better athlete at a commercial gym. They just care about like fitness, which is fine. Like, that's great, that's awesome, right? But like, for myself, I need something that's a little bit more like, it's a different atmosphere. So at Los, I feel like I can be not only just doing what I love, but I can also be myself.
You can walk in with a nose ring and be confident, right? Not
even that. Yeah, nose rings are super intimidating, right? So no, not even that. Like, I mean,
it seems like most people there are more goal, like gyms like that, or any kind of real strength conditioning gym is like goal oriented.
Yes.
Right. You can sit there and say fuck, shit, whatever, hoot and holler, and you don't have to put your headphones on because there's good tunes playing, right? Mm-hmm. You can get after it rather than, oh, hey, can I like quickly use your bench? Or you get a fucking something stolen from you and no one talks and you've seen someone there for 3 years, you know their goddamn name. Yeah. That's, to me, that's what's the difference. But
no, and it's like, I need that push and I need that good atmosphere, and everyone there, no matter what discipline you're doing, whether you're strongman, weightlifting, powerlifting, bodybuilding, yogis, like everybody wants you to succeed in what you're doing and to do well, and like, nobody puts you down for what you're doing in terms of your sport. Like, there's a mutual respect and a mutual desire for everyone to succeed, and
which that's awesome. That is lost amongst most gyms. Like, CrossFit brought light to a lot of these things, kind of like a renaissance in strength conditioning, but there was a time where all of a sudden, like, ooh, I'm a power lifter, fuck you, weightlifter.
Yeah.
But it's starting to come back full circle again, which is cool. Like, strongman are hanging out with weightlifters, and like, it's just something that you don't see a lot of, but when you do, it's awesome to see. And now, especially over there, you guys have bodybuilding.
Yeah.
A lot of bodybuilding.
A lot of bodybuilding.
Obviously, you got Charles Griffin there, so that's just awesome to see. Like, we were over there working out one day, and Charles was like singing on the leg press. He's like, "Yeah, get it, brother." And I'm like, "Yeah, I love that voice." But yeah, it's a cool place.
Deep sexy.
And I think
shout out.
And the cool thing about that is leaving your ego at the door, but bringing it in, at the same time, is that you have to, kind of, in small quarters, you adapt real fast, and that's kind of the maybe the secret sauce in a place like Los there, where they have everything. They have the stones, they have the Viking press, they have the bodybuilding stuff, and they have everything. And it's not a huge global gym; it's a small quarters where you're gonna go in and you better earn your respect, otherwise you might get laughed out of there too at the same time.
Right.
So like, you have to, when you come in there, part of the process, you have to bring it, you know what I mean? And as long as you're working hard, it's probably pretty poetic if you're in the right mindset.
Oh, for sure. And like, it's not even about how much you're lifting, or like, people people are at all these different levels there, and it's like, doesn't matter at all. Like, people, as long as you're respectful, you take ownership of what you're doing, you work hard, like, that's what people care about, and that's what people admire in others, and like, that's what they see, and it makes you stand out as an individual, because you're not just someone that's coming into a gym every day doing cardio and leaving, or doing the same routine every single day. Like, you see people pushing themselves to the absolute limit to where they're collapsing on the floor. Like, that shit is like energy, and that everybody else feeds off of that. Like, everybody wants to do well.
And there's a little more purpose in that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right, so that's awesome. Let's get some Maddie quick tips in here. So, who are a few people that you look up to in the lifting world, whether they're national, who's someone that you look up to that you're checking every single post on Instagram, or you're watching from an eye in the gym, they don't know you're watching, but you're watching them. Who do you look up to in the lifting world, at least?
So I mean, Steffi Cohen. She's the
Who?
shit. Stephanie Cohen.
Okay.
Who's that?
Yeah. Wait, who? No, yeah,
I don't know who the fuck that is.
exactly. No,
You kind of look like her a little bit.
A little bit.
Like, I know you're not Hispanic.
No,
You're
I'm
not?
No, I'm not. Surprisingly, I'm white as fuck. Yeah, Steffi Cohen, I think she's the shit. I just think she puts in work, and like I just really admire what she does.
Who's on your headphones when you're working out?
Who's on my headphones? I listen to. You're probably gonna cringe, but I listen.
The Iron Huddle? All right.
Nice.
No, you know what? I usually listen to a variation of like EDM, hip hop.
Okay.
I listen to metal.
Yeah.
What kind of metal?
Like For the Fallen Dreams.
Gross.
Gideon.
Nope.
Wow, I feel rejected. What
should.
about, okay, do you remember Mice and Men when they were good?
Yeah. Forever ago.
Like literally forever ago. So them.
You're gonna scare off her friends, Tyler.
I know. Sorry. She said metal, and I ran with it.
Go for it.
All right. So, what's your favorite post-lift meal?
Post-lift
Yes.
meal?
What are you putting down? Some pancakes.
Oh, jeez.
What's your favorite?
Dude, that sounds so good right now.
Okay, if I could like have
really hungry.
unlimited money, I mean Chipotle is fucking bomb, but usually.
What's your order at Chipotle? Let's get really deep into this.
Okay, so brown rice, black beans, the fajitas.
Every culture. Keep going.
Yes, right.
Good.
Double chicken because you need the protein.
Do you wait
Damn
till
effort
after
he
they put
hates
the
you.
first
Yeah.
scoop on to ask for double?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
That a girl,
because I
you
wanna
know.
see if they're, like,
It's so
fucking-
awesome too because they know that's the trick. Like,
Yep.
fucking, it got me.
They have Instagram too.
Right. So, wait, what else? Oh yeah, the pico. I get the hot
Okay.
sauce on the side because if you
Okay.
get that shit on the side, then you can like take it home, put it on.
Sure.
Yeah, super good. And lettuce.
Okay, but you didn't tell if it's a bowl or a burrito.
Oh, sorry, a bowl.
And you eat it with a fork or chips.
I eat it with a fork.
Oh, good for you.
The forks are like.
Hands?
There's something about those forks that make it better. Don't.
I'm judging you. Why?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Something about the forks that makes the Chipotle
Best
better.
utensil ever for eating was this fork. KFC?
The spork?
With the
Yeah.
with the buddy bowl.
Yeah, dude. The spoon fork thingy?
You would lose like one of the tines in your food every time.
Oh, for sure.
It's all about the buddy bowl.
Just reminds
The
me of my
buddy bowl,
childhood.
yeah. What's one of your favorite, like if you're going to do a big squat day or something, you got a big, deadlift day that you're finally going to get that after 380. If you need to sit down and you put on Braveheart or something, what's your movie to watch the night before that's going to get you going?
Burn it.
My movie?
What's a movie that's going to get you? Maybe it's
Like
relaxing.
motivational video.
Yeah, maybe you're watching Mary Poppins.
C.T. Fletcher, straight up.
Like
Yeah.
E.T., hip hop preacher, anything like
You know
that.
what?
What?
So I look at other videos of my past lifts and I don't even I don't watch anything. I don't I
That
get
usually
good
gets me going
music.
too.
You watch your technique?
I watch my technique. I watch my old videos from when
Yeah.
I've gotten hyped up. I think a big thing is picturing myself doing it and running it through my head.
Okay.
That's what most
that
good
I'm
athletes do,
doing
though.
it.
Visualize.
Yeah.
Visualization is huge.
So in terms of, however, recently that Nike commercial that came out with
The ladies?
yes,
That's pretty
that fucking fires me up.
So
man.
sexist.
So sexist.
I actually haven't seen it. I saw it posted 8
But
times.
that got you
day.
going, huh?
Yeah,
They
actually.
got me going.
Yeah, it's legit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and usually I can't see videos that are like that for me. Some of them, maybe, like the one that
Yeah.
you shared with us before that meet for the last time. I can't remember if it was.
He's so inspirational, he doesn't remember which one it was.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many.
It was something.
I do so
don't
much.
know.
He is the wind beneath your wings.
Right, exactly. No, but I usually just spend a lot of time visualizing
Okay.
when I'm going to bed.
That's awesome.
It's bad.
About lifting, right?
Correct. Yes.
Artistic
Oh.
people
Yeah.
are usually actually better at that.
Yeah.
It's the truth. Artistic people are usually better at daydreaming, visualization, all that. Just
So are you a
creative
visual
mind.
learner then too?
Yes.
Yes, they're usually visual learners.
Yep.
Okay.
Any type of math, I suck at, except for geometry. And it's visual.
Because you can, well, all that, and you can prove yourself wrong.
You can
Most
what?
math. You can prove yourself right or wrong. There's usually checks and balances.
Right, yeah. Math, I don't get.
So if it's middle of March right now, beginning of March, and you're driving through,
Middle of March.
It's March
Pause,
5th,
it's March
sir.
5th.
Sir,
Don't get ahead of
it's not even the first
yourself.
week.
even better. For
Where am
you,
I?
if
I'm
we're,
Mad Dog.
early March, and you're driving by a Dairy Queen, are people there for the cool eats or the hot treats?
The cool.
So if you're driving through Dairy Queen right now and you're seeing a line through the drive-through, are people there for the hot eats or the cool treats?
Okay, who goes?
People
to
go there in the
Dairy
winter?
Queen To like, yeah, pause. People go there in the winter, and people go there for anything other than a blizzard.
That's my question to you. Are they there for the hot eats or the cool treats?
Definitely the cool treats.
I just asked what your opinion was.
Yeah. Yeah.
You guys got any pressing questions for the lady?
If you were a pizza delivery driver, what would you do with the scissors?
With the scissors?
Yeah.
That got dark.
Wow. I would ask the person I delivered it to if they had like tags they needed cut off. I don't know. Like, what the
That's
fuck?
creative.
I guess
I don't know. Like,
that's
what are you-
resourceful.
Somebody asked me that in a job interview, and I just been wanting to ask somebody. So
What was your answer?
self-defense, like
All right.
Wait, why? Wait, like.
dogs, like mainly little dogs.
Scissors.
Probably the ones that would just be able to kick, but I'd rather stab them.
That's wow.
I mean,
I don't know. I think I would just slash some tires and enjoy my day.
Somebody at the table told me that he would kill the guy who ordered the pizza, take the pizza home, and eat it. But then we were all like,
I don't think
why
he got
would you
hired,
just
right?
Go home and eat the pizza.
instead
Why would you? Did you
Jesus.
had to kill somebody?
You're like, I mean, sure. You wanted a killer's high that day or something? I don't know.
It's gonna be the last pizza you ever have.
Yeah,
oh
right.
man, I thought of like cutting receipts, but I don't know. Like, what the hell are you
Hey,
supposed
that's
to?
great. If you want to help somebody cut the tags off of their clothes in their closet, that's great.
Yeah, I didn't
That's
see
a lot
that
better
coming.
than some of the other.
I just thought of vandalism right away, but
And that was a creative answer. That was good.
Wow.
All right, Maddie, so we'll start with you, Nick. Let's talk about what we're into this week. What are you into this week?
What am I into this
Yeah.
week? I am into sandbag squats this week.
Nice.
Yeah.
Explain what those are a little bit for people that might not know.
Sandbag squats are, well, I've been doing them like as an internal torque movement to help work on my squatting pattern, like true mobility, breathing, and bracing my obliques.
Okay. Nice.
well said.
You can follow Nick kind of thick and see everything he does with the sandbag squats.
Oh yeah, and foot strength. We did a kind of cool thing the other day where we put some plates together and stood on top of them to help out with foot strength. So
Nice.
Was that
check it
low
out.
Tadlock doing that?
that was low Tadlock.
Nice.
Lauren Tadlock?
Don't follow her.
I laughed really loud. I've been giving Nick some shit about his sisters.
Tyler Ryder, what are you into this week besides Lauren Tadlock?
That's gonna backfire. I've been actually trying to hinge like a motherfucker because Julian said I need to master something over this next year. So
You trying to hinge now?
I always have been, but it's something I'm actually getting more confident with. Because last Tuesday, a week from today, I pulled for the first time over 500 pounds without pain,
Nice.
and it was actually easy. So this week I went light, but I just been hinging twice a week and blowing up those hammies as much as I can. I actually got them to cramp so bad last week, I seriously thought I ripped my testicle. No, it was so high up, like in that attachment, it scared the shit out of me. But god damn it, did it feel good?
So hinging as far as deadlift and squat or just deadlift?
Just the deadlift.
Okay.
My squat's good. My deadlift is.
Nice.
I am definitely in a non-safe place.
Nice.
When it comes to deadlifting now.
All right, Maddie, what are you into this week?
I am into recovery.
Okay.
How so?
Loading.
Okay.
Okay, with
Okay.
weights.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep.
So how do people, if they want to
Tony,
follow you?
Hold on.
Hold on. What are you
Hold it
into this
on.
Yeah.
Hey, what
pause.
about you, man?
A whole lot. I just can't get into it. All right.
You could just say
So-
keto. You started.
Yeah. I started keto recently. I've been trying to stick with that. And it's funny you brought up earlier about how the cheat meals and you didn't want to do them because it was just catapult into you catapulting into another cheat meal. So we were actually out to a fine dinner one night after a Saturday night podcast, and I was talking about maybe Sunday having a kind of recovery cheat meal to bring everything back, and these guys kind of said, well, you might want to just rethink that because it might not, be what you want to do as far as resetting if I even have any ketones at this point. But it's the longest I've ever been able to stick to somewhat of a diet in the keto when it's working well. I still have energies. Was able to all press these motherfuckers, so it's still going pretty good. But I couldn't pick up a 2-pound stone like the 10th time.
Dude, right?
But for you, if people want to get in touch with you, how do they get in touch with you? How do they follow you and see the amazing progress you've been making?
Yes, so I don't know, just my Instagram.
And what would that be?
It's, the little @ and then Maddie Riebe, so it's MADIRIE as in Edward, B as in boy, E as in Edward.
And what are people going to find when they follow you?
I post a lot of videos of me lifting and usually some vein selfie.
Meathead shit, art shit, stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
It's pretty good drawing.
Miss Van Gogh.
I have, fun fact, if I didn't go to college, I would have been apprenticing at Anchorson in Hudson, Wisconsin.
Really?
As a tattoo artist.
Oh, really? Have you still have any thoughts maybe do that in the future?
No.
That was a big sigh. Man, no.
Yeah. All right.
I love tattoos. I love getting them, but no.
Okay. All right. Can people see that on your Instagram maybe, the tats you have? Or?
Yeah, you should be able to.
I always forget you do have a lot of ink.
I have a decent amount. I want a full sleeve.
Yeah.
It's just when am I going to pull the trigger?
Well, the last thing, are your tattoos meaningful or just ink to cover your arm?
It depends. Some of them are, and some of them I just get because they're pretty.
Okay.
Yeah, and initially I used to think oh, they need a meaning, but honestly, however it's special to you, it doesn't matter.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of tattoos.
All right, well, thank you very much for coming. We appreciate the heck of it.
Much.
We'll take the classic pick here, and we'll let you get up in 3 hours to open up Los.
Thank you.
Yeah, you got to get up soon.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.